Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy CowboyJobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, this would be nothing. Now, what I wanted to talk about now, and I'm working on my list of guys that I think the Dallas Cowboys should be looking at in the draft. Unfortunately, drafting at 28, there's so many variables in there. Who knows who's going to be available? So when I have more time, I'm getting that stuff together, and it's just been my day job has been kicking my butt. But anyway, one thing I've been wanting to get to for a while now, since the Cowboys have signed him, is actually talking about Stephen Paea. Now, here's the thing that I always find interesting, because a lot of times we'll sign people and they'll be like, oh, he's a bum. He's a nobody. You should have gotten such and such. And I remember those same things being said when we signed Darren McFadden. Most people are saying, Darren McFadden, he can't stay on the field. He's only averaged like 3.4 yards a carry over the last 3 years. He's done. But a lot of times it's the system you're in or the people around you that make the player. Because when he came to Dallas, behind the Great Wall of Dallas, and that's where I have that formula that the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is like a +1 in your statistical average. Because you get behind that big line, you're able to get a head of steam and get downfield. And lo and behold, he went up to 4.6 yards a carry and was the fourth leading running back of that year. So clearly not a bum. So clearly playing in Oakland behind a crappy line affected his play on the field. And I think that's the case of Stephen Paea. Because Paea was a guy who worked under Rod Martinelli before he came to the Dallas Cowboys. And one thing that was always said was, Jobu needs a refill. And some of you have been wondering, what the heck has Jobu been drinking lately? Well, we're trying for some new mojo. So we're doing blue shots of rum. So we have a little blue Sriracha, one part of that, and then 3 parts of coconut rum. It's rather tasty, and it's blue, like our Dallas Cowboys. So anyway, back to Stephen Paea. He's had 14 sacks in his career. Nothing to write home about, but not bad. But in 2014, he had 6 that season. And of course, as a free agent, he went out and got the money from the Washington Redskins, stayed for a year, and of course the dogs are going off. And didn't do that well, only had a sack and a half. He then went to Cleveland, so he went from the dumpster fire to straight hell, where he got a half of a sack. But he went from a 4-3 defense to a 3-4. And if you don't know the difference, here's the thing. 4-3 is 4 defensive linemen, okay? Versus a 3-4 being 3 defensive linemen. And because you are 3 defensive linemen, basically your linemen are bigger in a 3-4. And the roles are typically different. See, the difference is a 3-4, because you have more linebackers, your job is to occupy space and stop the offensive lineman from moving. And generally speaking, it's a read and react defense. Now, I played, unfortunately, as a small defensive lineman in a read and react defense. And what that means is your job is to see where the offensive lineman wants to take you. You're getting your hands on their body. You're grabbing a hold of them, and you're fighting pressure. So if he's trying to hook you to block you, that's leading you to the ball. So you're trying to fight through that, because that's where the running back is trying to go. The problem with that is if you're not a big guy, it's hard to hold up with somebody who's bigger than you are. Generally speaking, a 4-3 defense is more of a spot defense. So instead of having to read and react and figure out where the offensive lineman is, you have a spot that you have to get to. That is your gap control. So you're able to use your speed. See, for me, I played at about 225, 230 pounds. And when I'm playing against guys that were 260, getting double teamed, I'm getting blown off downfield. It's just a fact. I just couldn't hold up to that weight. But if you said, get in between the center and the guard and get in the quarterback's hip pocket, I could make a move and use my speed to my advantage to get there. And that's what Rod Martinelli's defense does. It's a lot of speed. So you'll notice that our defensive lineman, even a guy like David Irving, is only 270 pounds because it's speed that gets you to the point of attack. It's an attacking defense. Whereas that 3-4 is more of a read and react. And I don't think Stephen Paea fit that defense. And I think reunited with Rod Martinelli is going to bring a lot. And I look for him to have a good impact for this defense because he has enough speed. He ran a 4.9, I believe, at the combine. He tied the record in bench pressing. And I know that was several years ago, but you don't exactly lose that. And I look for the teams that he played for not being that good. And I think when he gets to Dallas, you're going to see a marked improvement from him. And let me give you an example here real quick and what I mean by making moves where he's able to use his speed as opposed to having to hold up alignment. Let's go to that clip real quick. Okay, so friends, here we are on our practice field right here. And what I want to actually demonstrate is one of the type of moves that Stephen Paea will be able to do using his speed in that 4-3 defense versus being in the 3-4. This is what I used to use in college. It's called a jab, step, and rip when you're pass rushing. Like I was saying, the difference is you have gap control. You say that this gap right here is going to be your gap to rush. But what you do is you're playing different games. And my thing was called a jab, step, and rip. And what we would do is, from our stance, we would take a jab step. And what would happen is the offensive lineman, pass blocking, would step with you, trying to get your momentum stopped here, thinking that's where you're rushing. But it's really kind of a fake out because then you're going to step the other way and you're going to take and dip your shoulder and you're going to rip. You're literally just going to punch as hard as you can right through it. And what's that able to do is it's giving only a small target right here and it's taking and knocking his hands off of you. So as you're doing this, he has a very small target right here and he's leaning that way and it's really hard to rotate your body, and if you're quick you're past him before he can recover. And that's one of those types of moves that Stephen Paea will be able to do because of his speed and because it's an attacking defense that he wouldn't be able to do with a read and react defense like he played in Cleveland and Washington. And that's one of the reasons why I see him being able to step it up another level, being behind Rod Martinelli. So, friends, that's why I think Stephen Paea may end up being a big addition for the Dallas Cowboys defensive line. One, of course, his knowing Rod Martinelli's scheme and working with Rod Martinelli. Rod Martinelli has a way of taking guys that have had kind of so-so careers and turning them around and all of a sudden helping them to get paid. Because we all know Terrell McClain, Jack Crawford, George Selvey, all of these guys, when they were signed by the Dallas Cowboys, pretty much everybody said they're a bum. Yet, other teams value them. So look for Stephen Paea to be an impact player for the Dallas Cowboys Black Sheep this year. So friends, as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And I think I'm going to go get some ice for my knees right now because I'm really old. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Mark Holmes, it's Cowboy Jobu, and have a great night, and I'll see you here soon. So friends, that's why I think that Stephen Paea could end up being a great addition for the Dallas Cowboys. Forget about the numbers in Washington and Cleveland. We can't blah, 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 blah.